opportunity to enhance the economic prosperity of rural immigrant women through the identification and elimination of barriers, which is supported by the Minister, is certainly cause for celebration. At this time, I would like to call upon our MP for Northumberland-Quinte West, Rick Norlock, to formally introduce the Minister. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What a great day this is. You don't have to shovel sunshine. Although last night my wife and I were doing some shoveling of the white stuff. It's just great to be here today and to welcome the Minister here to Northumberland County, Northumberland-Quinte West riding. You know, our partner, the United Way, has a long history in this region, having served the community for over 45 years. And by partnering with them, we are leveraging their extensive knowledge and experience in this field and ensuring that support is offered where it is most needed. You know, whatever we do in this county, as you know, and in this riding, as you know, it all has to do with long-term prosperity. It all has to do with jobs, and it all has to do with positioning ourselves to be well, the goal, quite frankly, is to make sure that everyone who wants a job gets a job. And whether it's the announcement in Port Hope of the low-level radioactive cleanup, the great construction that's going on at the base, and the preparations to bring JTF2 here, whether it's using the gas tax money to pave our county roads so that we can develop our infrastructure and attract more business, that's what we're all about. And this announcement goes a long way to seeing that those goals are met. And it is my pleasure to welcome one of the hardest working folks in our country, not to mention in our government, Minister Leitch. Minister Leitch, of course, is the Minister of Labour and Minister responsible for the status of women, appointed there as such in July. And before that, she also served as Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Human Resources and Skills Development and the Minister of Labour. Dr. Leitch earned her degree in medicine from the University of Toronto in 1994 and has an MBA from Dalhousie University in 1998. And she also is a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. She's taught that in university and a couple of universities, I believe.
I'm not here on that day job.
Yeah. And she volunteers. She's also been recognized with the Order of Ontario for her advocacy work on behalf of Canadian children. And throughout her career in the medical profession as a volunteer and now in public life, Dr. Leitch has made it a priority to help address the unique challenges that women and girls face. So it's particularly a pleasure for me to welcome Dr. Leitch, Minister Leitch, to Northumberland County to make this announcement.
So everybody knows what the House of Commons looks like, right? We all sit in these rows, and I'm going to step away from this mic for 1 second. So you can visualize our side of the House, and I'm going to stand just like this. So I get my first seat position in the House of Commons. And I get my little number, they give it to you, and your seat's 79. So I go into the House of Commons, and I sit in my seat. And this guy's right there. With his buddy called Colin Mays. And have any of you ever watched The Muppets? So for 2 years of my life, I had the two guys from The Muppets sitting right behind me, making sure I'm doing my job. Because as you know, they critique everyone on The Muppet Show, and I sort of felt a little like that. So this is not my first time at Northumberland County. When Rick ran in 2006, I was involved in helping with a number of candidates, and so I came out here. I have to say that I'm very pleased that you all eat so many apples for apple pie. I represent a riding now, Simcoe Grey, where we grow 10% of Canada's apples. So we're delighted that you make a lot of apple pies. But it's been great to get to know Rick and many of my other caucus colleagues. Probably the most important thing for any team is that you're collegial. And for myself, who was the new kid on the block in 2011, having great people like Rick Norlock there to give me some guidance, talk to me about what parliamentary procedure was about, and be one of our leaders in caucus. He is the chairman of the Eastern and Northern Caucus for our government. it's extremely important. And so I became part of the team mainly because I had two chaps who had a lot of experience on the Hill sitting right behind me, making sure that I was doing my job well as a parliamentary secretary. And as you probably also know, Rick is the chair of the Law Enforcement Officers Caucus. When we did the Back to Work legislation, my first experience as a parliamentarian, as the Parliamentary Secretary for Labour, we were in the House of Commons for 53 hours. They said that only the cop caucus and me were there 24/7, so I got to know them even better. One of the reasons I'm here today has to do with the sign up front. I'm the Minister for Status of Women. Right now, in Canada's workforce, 48% of those who are involved in the workforce are women. And our challenge, and what we are focused on as a government, as Rick mentioned, is making sure that women are participating fully in the economy because we actually need them to. And Economic Action Plan 2014, our most recent budget, focuses on a number of opportunities to create jobs and opportunities for all Canadians, but in particular for women, and also making sure we get to a balanced budget by 2015. And I think you've all heard we're well on track for that. Minister Flaherty has done an outstanding job working with the Prime Minister and all of our caucus to make sure that we are on track for a balanced budget. In fact, we hope, and our goal is to have a surplus by 2015 of over $6 billion. And we remain committed to making sure we're creating opportunities for women. And one of the things I'm the most delighted about, and I look for your input, I know there's a number of people here from the economic development team here in Northumberland County, is for women entrepreneurs. A key announcement in the platform of the budget was a new mentorship program for women entrepreneurs to make sure that we have champions in the country to encourage women to become entrepreneurs and to support them through that process. We know that women who become entrepreneurs hire women. We know they invest significantly in their communities. Evidence alone, the number of women that are here that are part of St. John's Ambulance or Big Brothers Big Sisters, the United Way, and the YMCA. And so I encourage all of you, if you know a woman who's been a successful entrepreneur, tell her to call me, because I need to know what made her successful so that we can make sure that women across the country have those opportunities. Now, one of the other things that we focused on is making sure that we have targeted initiatives for all Canadians. You may have heard that we do have this looming skills shortage. In fact, in 2012, over 250,000 jobs went vacant across the country in skilled professional trades. And I encourage you to call them skilled professional trades. These individuals who take on becoming an electrician or a carpenter or plumber, who get a red seal trade especially, spend anywhere from 2 to 4 years in education. That's probably more time than some people are doing in their undergrad degree. And we should treat them respectfully because they're the people that build our homes and make sure that our roads are functioning. They're the individuals that we need to make sure that the economy is growing. But we have a number of targeted initiatives in this budget to help them. One of the most substantive is the apprenticeship loan program. So many of you may not have known that we have a Canada student loan program, but none of these young apprentices were able to apply for that while they took their apprenticeships. So we have a new initiative, over $100 million per year, to allow these young people to have, just like other young Canadians, access to interest-free loans so that they can complete their education. Something that I think will benefit all of us. The other thing that we're doing is focusing, as I said, on women entrepreneurs, but also women getting into skilled professional trades, non-traditional roles. We know that whether it be plumbing, carpentry, forestry, fishing, less than 20% of the working population in those areas are women. Now, I grew up in a small town in northern Alberta, Fort McMurray. Has a little bit of oil running around. On the sites at Syncrude and Suncor Canada, over 70% of the heavy equipment truck drivers are women. And everybody sort of looks at me like, why would you do that if you're a woman? Well, it's a great quality of life, they have very good income. Many of them make over 100 grand a year. You have an opportunity to have a work-life schedule that's conducive to having a family. And for Syncrude, they take better care of the equipment. Women don't seem to drive like us. And when you're driving around a dump truck that has $50,000 tires, it makes a big difference to the bottom line. So Syncrude and Suncor Canada spent a lot of time recruiting women to manage their heavy equipment because of how they're treated. And I think it's important that we encourage young people, young men and young women, to enter into these roles because we actually need them. Because we need them to grow the economy, and we need them to feel appreciated so they consider it right out of high school to enter into college or an apprenticeship program. For status of women, to encourage women to take on these types of roles and others, we've invested over $53 million since 2007 to do just that. And here today, our focus is on new Canadians, immigrants who are critical to Canada's economic growth, opportunities to make sure that we're growing all of our local economies, and when we also know skill shortages exist. And here in Northumberland, I'm delighted today to announce for the United Way, we'll be receiving over $165,000 from the Government of Canada to fund a project that will enhance economic prosperity for immigrant women right here in Northumberland County. So this project will allow local immigrant women to take on an active role in shaping services that are available in the region to better serve themselves and their families. The objective for all of our community projects is to create these new economic opportunities for women across the country in many occupations, and also improving their own prosperity, that for them and their families. You know, I don't think that anyone's more pleased than when they have that job, they're doing well in it, and they can buy the hockey equipment for their child, or they can make sure that their daughter gets to dance class. These are things that are important to families, and that's what these types of skills that you'll be training these people to have provided to them. Reducing barriers to their opportunities to be involved in the economy will allow them to do. You know, we talk a lot about words of economy and barriers and everything else, but when push comes to shove, it's about having great skills, so you have a good job, a great quality of life for your family, so your kids can participate in those things you want them to participate in. I know that's what my parents wanted. So I'm delighted to be here. I thank the United Way and Northumberland County for hosting me here today. Delighted to be here with Rick Norlock, the fabulous guy on the hill. You guys have a fabulous member of Parliament, so you better send him back. And delighted to be here today with Rick, and happy to take any of your questions. Thank you very much for having me.
Are there any questions for the minister?
If there's other people speaking, okay, I'll let you do that.
Thank you, Minister. We'll ask the Minister to return. These final remarks are put through. At this time, if I could call upon the Warden of Northumberland County, Linda Thompson, to say a few words. Thank you.
I'd just like to very much thank you to the Minister. That's fabulous. Good morning, and on behalf of County Council and staff, I want to thank Minister Leitch. And of course, Rick. Where'd you go? You're usually always standing right here, Rick, and we really appreciate that you always have our back. We really do appreciate that. And of course, our partners at Northumberland United Way for being here today at this extremely important announcement. And the project announced today is really another opportunity to support newcomers to Northumberland County, to integrate into our communities and of course into our workforce. The county has placed a strategic focus on enhancing the immigrant experience in Northumberland. In 2013, we launched an online immigration portal to provide vital information and resources to newcomers, and I know our staff worked very hard for the funding of that, and we appreciate that. We also hosted an immigration forum where newcomers shared their stories of settlement and immigration with their peers and local agencies. And we continue to work with community agencies as well as new Canadians living in Northumberland to provide additional support such as job search workshops and information sessions. At the center of these efforts is the understanding that attraction of new Canadians to live, work, and play here in Northumberland and supporting these newcomers to achieve economic prosperity is a key contributor to our economic development for the entire municipality. We all win. We're very pleased that the federal government has provided funding support for this really important project. and it sure is to have a lasting impact on enhancing our economic prosperity and immigrant women living in our communities. So again, Minister, thank you so much for coming today. And Rick, thank you for, if you don't have our back, having other members back in the House. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gordon Thompson. If I could ask Brenda Kay, CEO of the United Way, Northumberland, to step up to the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Minister Leitch, MP Rick Norlock, Gordon Thompson, members of council and guests. The United Way mission is to create a better life for everyone in Northumberland County through leadership and partnerships that mobilize community resources. Our three focus areas are all that kids can be, from poverty to possibility, and strong communities. This grant announced today will enable our organization to continue to enhance our mission and build strong communities. One of the first things that we've discovered when working with immigrant and newcomer populations in Northumberland is how little we know about them beyond what we glean from census figures and statistical profiles. We know that they are newcomers and immigrants in our communities, but do we know of their special challenges, their concerns, and the barriers that they encounter? Do we know about their stories? Funding from Status of Women Canada to assist us as we work to enhance the economic prosperity of rural immigrant women in our 7 municipalities is a tangible recognition of the value of immigrants in our communities and the continued commitment of the government in supporting the welfare of immigrant population in rural communities. We do have a rich and long history of immigration in our county, a history that encompasses a shift in arrivals from the countries in Europe in the 70s to the countries in Asia and Latin America in recent years. It is a history that continues to define us as a county and as a nation. With the launch of its immigration portal in 2013, Northumberland County highlighted a collective priority to welcome newcomers and ensure that their integration is successful. A few months after the portal launch, the United Way, along with the county's economic development, jointly sponsored the first immigration forum with representation from at least 22 community agencies. Some of the discussions emanating from that forum found their way into the current Status of Women project. We are pleased that through the funding that we received, the United Way shall be building on and working with another Status of Women funded project through the Community Training Development Center that looks at improving economic prosperity of rural women. Plus working with other community agents that are representative here today, the New Canadian Centre and the YMCA and the Multicultural Centre, and also including our member agencies. We need to know how immigrant women are accessing services in our county and the disruptions in their careers when they are not allowed to continue to practice their professions in Canada, and only by creating a space for them where they can freely talk and we can listen and unify our efforts in addressing their needs and concerns. Our thanks to Minister Leitch, to MP Rick Norlock for your support, to Gordon Thompson and council members, and the team in economic development and tourism who we look forward to working with throughout this project, Dan Borowick, Din Villarino, who Din's just an amazing resource, and I really enjoy working with her, and with Carrie from the department. They're just an amazing department, and we look forward to moving ahead with this project. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Our history in working cooperatively and collectively speaks volumes to the success of this initiative. Maybe just some perspective here. From a county perspective, our collective vision is to bring together people, partnerships, and possibilities for a strong and vibrant Northumberland County. It's embedded in our strategic plan, and the support we are receiving today can certainly assist in achieving that collective vision. As the warden noted in her remarks, understanding that attracting new Canadians to live and work and play in Northumberland and supporting these newcomers to achieve economic prosperity is a key contributor to economic development for the entire county and essential for rural Canada. I too would be remiss if I didn't recognize the efforts of our Business Immigration Coordinator, Din Villarino, for all her efforts in advancing and shaping our strategic framework to attract and most importantly support new Canadians here in Northumberland. Finally, thank you to the Minister, as well as our MP Rick Norlock, for your support and investment in this extremely worthwhile endeavour. My understanding is that the Minister is prepared to take some questions, if that's okay.
Mr. Norlock?
And as well as MP Norlock.
I'm giving him all the tough ones.
The Greek chorus, so to speak. If you'd like to come to the microphone, folks, the press is here. It's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Now, about this $6 billion surplus, you just make that out to the county of Northumberland?
Let's just say that we will do our part to make sure we get our fair share of that $6
I
billion.
know you will, Rick, thanks very much.
Any other questions? It's okay if you don't have any.
Well, thank you very much, and we certainly appreciate the minister coming to make this great announcement. We look forward to many great things through this funding, and we are sure that with the shepherding of the United Way and the County of Northumberland and the great folks that work on the team there, and of course Din who's going to make this thing work, we appreciate that.
No pressure.
And we look forward to many great things and a vibrant and wonderful working community, especially led by the people, at least in my life, the ladies in my life, to make sure that they are afforded the opportunities that we believe are just and right. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.